saying start at -2 and apply the opposite of -5. So here we are on a number line. Here's -2, and we're applying the opposite. Well, here's -5. We're saying apply the opposite of -5.
So they times 5.
So you're actually going to the right 5. So yeah, you're going to end up at +3. And so that's why -2 minus the -5 works. Make the minus sign a plus, change the sign of the next number, and so you really end up with, you're subtracting, you end up with 3.
Okay.
Alright? It takes a little time to get used to working with integers, adding and subtracting integers, because just all your life you've been looking at a minus sign and you subtract. And now it's not that way anymore. You have to look at the signs, which one's larger. So you want to take that extra second to think about it, because you're in that habit of, okay, you subtract, you subtract it, boom, and you get a positive number. But it's not always going to be that way anymore. So you got to take that extra second to think about, is my answer going to be positive or is it going to be negative? Am I adding negatives or am I subtracting, getting which is my sign? Is it going to be positive or negative? You're not used to thinking about those things.
So no matter what whatever the large number is, you do the opposite of that large number in the problem?
I was more in the
You have to look at, you can't always say that, because if the larger number is first and it's negative, then like we have 2, right? Well, -2, that would be the opposite of 2 is -2, right? But we're looking at this as the opposite of a -5. Starting off at -2, and we're looking at the opposite of a -5,
Okay.
which means the opposite of -5 means you're going to move 5 spaces to the right. So if you have, let's say you have -12 minus a negative, let's say, 4. Keep this red. Okay, so this would be -12 minus, and I'm going to put parentheses here, minus a -4, right? So now what do we do?
You gotta change.
Make the minus sign a plus,
And
right?
change
Change the sign of
four.
the next number. So that changes that. Make the minus sign a plus, change the sign of the next number, so that makes it the minus sign a plus. So now we have plus plus, right? So you got a -12. So now you have to look at, now you change the signs, right? Now you have to look at, okay, I got a negative and I got a positive number. Am I adding or subtracting? Subtracting. Which one is, am I going to have more negative or more positive?
More
You're
negative.
going to have more negative. So my answer is going to be positive or negative? It's going to be negative, right? So I'm going to subtract. 12 minus 4 is going to give us what?
-8.
-8.
Okay, that's
Okay.
pretty easy, I think.
Yeah. It's, like I was saying,
It's easy to
you're
say.
used to thinking a certain way, and so now we have to change our thinking on how we're working through these problems.
So two negatives together, you're always going to add. When you have it like that,
Right.
you've got to
That's right.
move it around. Okay. All right.
I've heard that saying before, 2 negatives make a positive. Is
Might
that where
be.
it comes from?
Yeah, 2 negatives.
Yeah,
make a
or-
positive, a negative
Well, my
make a
dad always
positive.
used to say 2 wrongs don't make a right, but in this case, maybe it does. Okay.
Lord mercy, thankfully we get into fractions with this stuff.
Well, it's funny you should say that.
Because you start to smile. What
That won't be for a couple of lessons yet. Let's let's not get there too fast. Okay. Well, let's say we want to find um, 13 minus a negative 10. Okay, so we want to look at this as, what do I put here for this word? Minus. Am I going to put a plus or minus? Don't look at this as addition or
It's gonna be
subtraction yet.
plus.
Minus.
But you're gonna change it though, aren't you?
There, that's right. That's why you don't want to look at this as adding or subtracting. You want to look at this as a plus or minus sign. You're going to put a minus, right? So this is 13 minus what? Negative 10. And now we apply our property of subtraction. And we look at, okay, now am I adding or subtracting? We're adding. So you see why you don't want to look at this as adding or subtracting yet. Because you may end up adding. Or if you have an addition word like sum, you may end up subtracting, right? So you put the sign there, what that represents, and then you look at whether you're going to add or subtract.